everyone, and a very warm welcome to the 34th Canadian Universities and Colleges Admissions Workshop. Now, this is a signature event in the Canadian education landscape and has been so for the past 17 years. Through this ingenious platform at CanAm, we've been able to reach out to lakhs of students and made their successful careers across various countries, depending upon their dreams. So today we have with us Anurag Sandhu, CEO at CanAm, who is also a regulated Canadian immigration consultant licensed by the Government of Canada. So Anurag, I have a question for you. In the past 2 years, there have been a large number of students, international students, going to Canada. And recently, the Canadian government has been trying to reduce the number of temporary residents in Canada from 6% to 5% to improve the success stories, to serve the students much better. And what do you think? Isn't it a very positive move?
Okay, first of all, thanks for this platform. And actually this platform for this last 17 years, as we've noticed, has, as we felt and as it's evolved, has been one of the prime sources of information to the international students, because there's so much of information and there's so much of clutter of information which goes out based on what really goes on in terms of various government policies. And so thanks a lot to have me over here. Now, coming to this question, which is raising a lot of concerns. You know, when I every day when I'm looking at, these days that social media and there's a feed coming in all the time, reading about the news and print ads or other ads, even on television, sometimes there's discussion on it. The picture, unfortunately, that is painted around this topic which you talk about, which I'm going to discuss in detail, is a little negative. People think what's happening is not good.
Right.
And I'm unable to understand what's going on right now. How is it bad and who's it bad for?
Right.
So there are two aspects to the whole story. The aspects revolve around the situation that that happened and developed based on government policies which changed around the COVID period. There was almost like a phase when Canada's policies pre-COVID, and then there's Canada's policies post-COVID. So those are the two phases which I normally talk about, that I feel what really happened changed post-COVID. The government took some steps and which may have led to a situation where there's suddenly too many people ended up in Canada. And they ended up in Canada, which was not the case pre-COVID. So post-COVID, some policies, little liberal policies sometimes I feel towards international education, international students, liberal towards... So post-COVID, that phase when the volume of people suddenly went up, and that the volume went up, volume of international students landing in Canada went up primarily because the government was, to my assessment, very liberal in allowing them in. And also there were a lot of opportunities created for various institutions which were not getting so many students in the past, and the restructuring within the system or the new concept of education that was evolving in terms of institution brought in a lot of students. And suddenly after a while, the government realized that there's too many of them, and too many of them is not the only issue. Too many of them just focused on a couple of locations only. I mean, a Toronto or a Vancouver or a Montreal or any primary cities. And that created a lot of pressure on the infrastructure. It created a lot of pressure on jobs, but jobs in the lower wage sector. That's the area which created a lot of pinch it started to pinch the Canadian system in terms of housing, those average basic jobs. And that is what was perceived to have gone wrong. And the Government of Canada suddenly realized that after a couple of years that we need to correct it. So what they're doing is not bad, they're doing a course correction. So it's a course correction which is going on right now. And this course correction may not be the best which is happening for the current students who are caught in that aberration of those 2 years or 2 years period who went in over there. They may feel a little pressure on what's going on, that suddenly the policies for them have changed. But for the students who are planning to go to Canada now, it's probably the best news.
True.
It's this whole policies are centered around for the benefit of the country, Canada. After all, Canada has to make the policies to benefit them. But those policies are going to bring in fewer students. Students are going to come in for some focused kind of areas, programs which we call over there as the long-term skill shortage list. You come in and study programs, which means that your chances and opportunity for getting a job are better. And those potentially have a better chance for permanent residency. That's how the government is aligning itself. So what's happening is great. It's absolutely great for students planning to go to Canada in the future.
Yeah, it's a lot focused on student services, student welfare, student career plans, and all aligned to the labor market.
All aligned to the labor market. Right. So if I'm a student here today and if I'm planning to go to Canada, first of all, because of the change in policies, I will be sort of funneled into studying in a good institution, which the Government of Canada has identified as a good institution, accepted very well by them. Then, so I'm also being channeled into programs which are more suitable to the local market, the labor market demands, something which very often students and agencies and organizations were not aware of. Now they will be aware of what to do. And anyone, if I'm a planner, if I'm a student and I'm thinking of a career, I would want to plan my career based on what my job opportunities are. And now I'm going to be made aware of them.
There's a lot of clarity now.
Exactly. There's more clarity because at the end of the day, what am I studying for?
Right.
You know, that whole concept that those 2 years, another thing which went wrong, a lot of misinformation was done by what Government of Canada says bad actors. They were giving the wrong idea to the student that a student visa means permanent residency, which was so incorrect. That was not true at all, and that's what the students, unfortunately, those innocent kids got caught into this wrong consulting, which we tried to fight. But you know, at the end of the day, there were so many of them, so-called bad actors, who were informing students wrongly. They were not, all of them are not bad. Many of them were like that, giving incorrect information. And now that chance where a student gets misled has been reduced. That's my feeling, that because it's clear in his mind that I can go to these other colleges which have been identified as possibly good colleges where the Government of Canada feels students should come in and go into the right programs based on my understanding of the labour market and my interest. I can match my interest with the labour market and take the right step.
Right.
And very often in the latest news also say that government, even though they don't guarantee permanent residency at any circumstances, that is not guaranteed for anyone, I would say, but they're talking about it that we are paving the way for international students to come in and be a part of settling down in Canada. You know, and that's the idea conveyed.
Yes, and yet they're saying that everybody who comes there is not going to be getting a visa, and everybody who gets a visa is not necessarily going to be getting PR. So that makes it very, very clear to the students that you choose the right program, choose the right province, choose the right institution, be successful, get a job, get to work there, contribute to the labour market, contribute to the economy, and then aim to be a permanent resident there.
True, and makes sense. And when I know that when I'm ending up in Canada, whichever city, based on I'm going to be working my way around based on the current caps and the allocation of that caps to various states, and this province deciding how to give those PALs, provincial attestation letters, to whichever institution. So I know that it's so well distributed that when I'm going and there's a cap on number of students who's going to go there, that intensity of competition is reduced. I know that there is only a few lucky people who are going to be able to get through the system and come there, and that improves my chance of post-study employment options and opportunities, and finally my pathway to a global career.
Talking about that, what do you think about this new introduction of the government asking the students to take another test, an English test, before they apply for a PGWP, which is the postgraduate work permit?
See, you know, there are there are two ways to think about it. The person has already taken a test like that as a part of the system. They've taken a test related to a language even before they come in. And then when he reaches there, he's expected to take the test again. And that test there's a different test for university graduates, and there's a different test for a different level of English score expected out of people who are in the colleges. And that's well thought out, I think, because the requirement for the university students is a little higher in English, because the assumption is based on the fact that they're going to take up managerial jobs in which there's communication skills are more important. So the English is a little higher, but still not higher than what you needed to come to Canada anyway. So I don't think it's going to be a hurdle for anyone. But for people in the colleges, the language requirement is in fact lower than what is required for a student from India to come to Canada, right? Anyway, so it won't be an issue, but that indicates that they're focusing more on the skill and the trade there rather than the communication skills.
And it also means that the student should remain focused. He should be able to continue to speak in English. When he goes to a foreign country, he shouldn't be speaking in his own mother tongue. He should get involved in the workplace. He should get involved in the culture. He should make himself more presentable, build up his soft skills, and make himself more employable.
Yeah, and I don't even think that is going to be a point of any discussion for anyone. It's just like,
it's great, I think.
So
what do you think is the future?
The future is,
it's bright.
Is obviously going to be bright for the kids who end up in Canada in the coming years. You know, that
for a genuine student, for a quality student.
the system will only allow genuine students, first
Right.
of all. I know that's there could be students who are not that serious entering into the system, but that's going to be such a small fraction that the student population ending up in Canada is going to be possibly genuine. And when I say genuine student means they have a clear cut focus on what they're studying and for what purpose they're studying, what kind of a job they're going to get. And that's the way I think it's moving forward. As far
A
as
lot of
Canada,
students are looking at masters. Talking about programs, a lot of students are looking at masters. So,
Masters currently is a little popular because of the situation that I think a lot of people who are in fields which are not necessarily technical, engineering, healthcare, which are expected. You know, we all expect that for them to be in the long-term skill shortage list, not just in Canada, it's all over the world.
Yeah.
There's a shortage of healthcare professionals. People love people in the engineering side, in the technology side, in the sciences side, or
Construction.
anything which is analytical construction, even agriculture-related
Agribusiness.
programs are in demand, not just here, all over the world. But when it comes to the business studies and business programs, the current policies is not so very clear about it at the college level. But for people who are in the field of business studies and related arts kind of programs, they may look into university programs, whether it's a bachelor's degree or a master's degrees, because the post-study work opportunities or postgraduate work permit is not linked to your
Labor market,
labor market
outcomes.
alignment as of now. I mean, there's one bad thing, one unfortunate thing which is happening with Canada is this, that whenever I say that this has to happen, I want to say that this is as of today, because I wish that the government would come out with one policy and be clear with it and let it stay for some time. Right now, every month there's a change and every time there's an analysis being done. So every time a policy comes out, there are a million interpretations.
right.
Everyone across the coast, whether it's media, whether it's certain YouTubers, whether it's various consultants, everyone is coming out with their own interpretation, and the clarity of the idea is not there. So
It's
I wish
always like
that-
half empty, half full.
yeah.
You've
So
got
I
to
wish
see.
I wish there was the government would take one solid step, and this is the policy, and let the system adjust to it, rather than announcing everything every quarter coming out with something new. So I have to always end with everything that what I'm talking about is as of today.
As of today, right.
And I really hope it stays like this, that today was the last day and there's no future changes in policy. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Sandhu, and thank you all for watching us at this Ed Talk session. And do follow us on all our various socials and subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you remain updated on the international education scene. Thank you all.
Thanks, Ganga. Thanks, everyone. All the best, everyone. All the best for all the students.